am Gentrovo, joined by Hubble and Randy and Josh. We are the Rolling in the Ozarks podcast, and we want to get going right out of the gates here. We played a game this week that was streamed yesterday, and it was a Stormcast versus Cities of Sigmar game that we're shooting up on there on our Twitch feed. And we wanted to kind of give that game a huge topical discussion this week. So I usually start these things off being like, hey, how's everybody doing? I'm going to skip that because I know everybody's doing okay. Unless you just want to say that you're not doing okay. And this is the place to say that you're not doing okay. Is anybody not doing okay?
I'm doing well. I got my cities book.
Well, great. That is fantastic. And so we're just going to jump right off into this episode and talk about the game that Hubble and I played. He had his cities list. I had my Sigmar list or my Stormcast list. And we're just going to get right into it. So we're going to start this off with a perspective of the game that wasn't from both the players playing, but it was from both the people observing the game. And that is Josh and Randy. So who wants to start this off?
Randy, if you want to take it away, man.
Okay,
I can
sounds
jump
good.
in.
From my perspective, I mean, I had a blast. It was fun getting to sit there, watch the game, and just make jokes with Josh here at Hubble's expense the whole game. So I had a blast watching it. Learned that cities is a lot. It's a lot of stuff you got to keep track of. So whoever like prints tokens and stuff is gonna make a killing off of Hubble and other cities players. So prepare for that. But yeah, overall, man, those dice were hot that Hubble was rolling. Gentry couldn't roll to save his life. But I just had a blast watching it. It was fun getting to talk with the chat and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that what stood out to me the most over the course of the game is how much of like a tackle box or like a toolbox army cities is and remains. I think cities has always been a really big toolbox army. But what we saw in that match is due to a lot of the battle traits that we'll kind of talk a little bit about later, and a number of other things, it really felt like Hubble had just a ton of situational tools to use based on whatever's happening, right? He's got stuff that's anti-charge. He's got stuff that wants to zip across the map. He has crit mortals. He's got crit auto wounds. He's got all sorts of things that give him different, I mean, I've said it a few times, but different tools for the moment. And I think that cities, we're just going for the overall vibe here. I think cities is following the trend of many of the more recent battle tomes in that it is elevating a skill ceiling. It's giving you a lot of space for skill expression. And I think that it has, in addition to that, a much higher skill floor. I think that there's been a lot of people who step to cities hoping that it's good out of the box, like maybe Maggotkin or Lumineth or things like that. Maybe even Sylvaneth. And I think that some people need it rolled because it is a thinking man's army or a thinking person's army. You do have to think a little bit. And so it was great from a game perspective. Super cool to see. It was awesome to spend time with Randy and the chat, just kind of goofing around, chatting through the game, having our own little private John Madden moments, which look forward to us finding out eventually how to do overlays and annotations. We'll get there. Don't worry, my friends. So we'll get to that at some point. But yeah, it was a great experience. Glad I got to be there. Glad I got to hang out with my friends and see Hubble pilot new cities in just an absolutely terrifying way.
My favorite part of this whole thing is when Hubble has 20 sheets of paper that he has to shuffle through. and he doesn't have his phone. And so every time he realizes there was a rule that he had to enact or do, or an order or something, he's literally shuffling through papers and apologizing to the audience, like, sorry guys, I know something is here that I can do. Cities is that army right now. It's where you have to shuffle through those rules.
Oh my goodness, that's yeah, definitely have all the printouts going. We're trying to get the new cities out and about. It was an absolute ride. Now, when I built my list the first time, I did not have enough firepower in there because I put too many heroes in. There's just so much tech that is exciting. We're going to go over the war scrolls. There's so many things that are going on that are giving us the opportunity to play incredibly. You have to play intelligently. Otherwise, I do think that, Josh got it. It's like you're gonna say, "Oh, I got this," and it doesn't go off. And then knowing how to adjust when it doesn't go off is gonna be a huge part. Um, and looking at the game that we played, Gentry was playing really intelligently throughout the game, making me have to then step up to the plate. So it was, oh, Yundastra's a monster killer. Let's just go kill Thalia. Instead, he goes and picks off other stuff. And I won by 1 point, everyone. It was a very close game. 44-43, I think, is off the top of my head. So it was very close the entire, time, because he's putting guys on the board. And this is like whenever we look at, a strength of schedule or the matchup, it's like, hey, he's teleporting to the corner. How am I going to address that? Because if I just give up this objective, he's going to score more points, and I need to stop him from scoring points. And what battle tactics are good. And, when we look at the holistic picture, what is going to be effective. But generally speaking, I love the new Cities book. It is phenomenal. I think I'm going to be playing a lot more in general, and I just love it. It was so much fun.
Turn one in our game, I go first. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So I have to move up because I have scouts. And so I want to move up and get some points. I get those points. I don't put my heroes in the field because I know he has intercept and recover. Couple, how do you respond?
Yeah, you master the paths to kill the hero.
Yes.
And so he goes ahead and teleports, takes the point. I tried to do some movement shenanigans with the Whisper Blade and Thalia, take the objective. But ultimately, he gets the 9-inch charge off, followed up by then that I have Cavaliers with crit mortals is really good, and an additional attack. So if you can get that combo off, it's going to be a good time. And they went and picked up that reinforced set of Liberators on the bottom of one, just nice and easy. And
So
then
you got the double.
yeah, I got the double.
Huge.
And that's like, okay, I wanted to play a little bit more aggressively with my guns and start shooting. I wanted to really kill the prosecutors on shooting. But this is where Gentry gets to experience the wonderful ability in Cities, where we'll go over the battle traits here. But I got a 12-inch charge because I get to take my lowest dice and match it to my highest dice if a unit is formed up. So I had both of my units a cav in, and I thought, oh, you know what? This is going to be great. We're going to be able to pick off, 2 more sets of Liberators. We're going to see that for a solid 3 whole rounds, these Liberators and Cavs were just hitting each other, over the head, tarring each other out. And then it goes into the bottom 2 over to Gentry.
And that's my goal. Like, so he nails me in turn one. He takes out my Storm Coven. He doubled, so he didn't score the points immediately. He takes out my Storm Coven unit. He gets stuck with that a Liberator unit next to my portal in the backfield of my own. However, like, I recognize this and have to take a very advanced maneuver and a very aggressive maneuver. I put both my characters down on the field. I move my prosecutors up a little bit, and I decide to take care of his artillery. So I was like, "Hey, I need to take out cannon. I need to take out Fusiliers to make sure that he cannot shoot me." And one thing I noticed in our game, how many times did you shoot off those Fusiliers?
Fusiliers got a total, I think, of 5 shots total. It wasn't like that was it. It was
There was
minimal.
rounds, right?
Not
What?
even it wasn't a whole unit. It was a
No.
reinforced set of Fusiliers.
Yes.
They got some little planks off just
So yeah,
because.
as bad as my dice might have been, I still played it to where like, hey, I have to negate those dice, and so I was able to mitigate the board field to do that. So I took out a lot of shots, and then I was like, hey, I'm gonna go put my dudes down in the position to where I'm like, I'm gonna go attack all of your shots. So even getting double turn and like having that storm coming go down and going down in that round, it gave me a positioning advantage where hey, I could put a whole bunch of dudes on the field, and that's what I did.
And then you doubled me, right?
Did I double? I doubled you the next one, yes, and then I wound up
That's when you killed all the
you
guns.
killed a lot of stuff, but the bad part of that round was Indostra making a charge, fleeing away from Thalia, being like, "Hey, I don't need to mess with her because she has all the buffs." I went over to this. Was it the Gallant unit or
Gallants.
yes, I went over to the Gallants. It was like, "Hey, I'm going to kill off 4, 5, 6 of these guys," and so Indostra goes into that unit and completely whiffs and gets wiped out on my turn. That was harsh.
And the reason that Industria, she finest hour on the top of third and on Gentry's turn, she finest hour, but the Gallants have this ability. They formed up and get the extra rend. But they also get an extra attack and extra damage. So they
Yeah,
go, oh, now we're at 3 attacks each and 2 damage apiece. And we did the all-out defense.
Dirk.
It helped out with probably 4 damage total that would have gone through, but it was still like these gallants just went to town and
Yeah,
absolutely
having
wiped Industria off.
right, having like 4 units in your army, maybe 5 that you can get 3 attacks a piece with, and having 30 dice to roll with 2 damage apiece is heavy. That's harsh,
Yeah.
right? So I was still in a decent position. Turn 3 comes along.
Bottom of 3, I just cleaned up. That
Yeah,
was it. I cleaned up, or I got actually stuck into combat in the bottom corner. You teleported the Soulsworn into the bottom corner, and Thalia was trying to clean that up. So that way you couldn't score any points. That was the objective. And then the Liberators are now one unit, I think is no, it wasn't. It was the top
no,
of fourth.
your cav got stuck for a
They were
long time.
stuck.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
basically I just had these still homes that were sitting with 10 guys in the unit that were just holding an objective, denying you points. But it was starting to look like, oh, I'm not going to score any points here because Gentry is starting to remove my pieces. But then I double back in the top of fourth, clean out the Soulsworn, finally kill all the Liberators out. Um, and and then also I think you are just down to the guys that were brought back, the Storm Coven were brought back, and the Celestant Prime. And so then you're trying to maximize points. You're killing off you kill off the Still Helms, you kill off other. Did you kill off the Gallants? I think you did.
maybe one of them. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Oh no, the Gallants ended the game. Yeah, and then the Gallants got you there.
Yeah.
Celestin Prime went out after that,
Yeah, he said
and
like both my characters went out based on unit kills. It wasn't based on his big hero kills at all. So
yeah,
that was fine. I think the game ultimately came down to is both players controlling each other. Where like what 44-43 was that the final score?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That is a control game. That is me preventing you from getting your points and you preventing me from getting my points and scoring objectives where we can. And to me, that is top tier Warhammer. I
Yeah.
love it. It's like it's me reading your battle plans and you reading my battle plans, and it is solid
And
gameplay.
anyone that is questioning Liberator spam is going to face the reality that it is just hard to lift if you're not bringing a solid hammer, iron guts, grand hammers, Varangard, stuff like that, you're gonna have, that might kill you a little bit faster. But if you're not doing that, these liberators are gonna sit there, look at you, do crit mortals, and just, I think, win the attrition battle.
If
So
you
the liberator battle is
yeah,
hard. It's a hard
and
match.
against that one, if you need to lift a unit in one turn, you need to be able to do 30 damage safely, basically.
On a 3-up save.
Yep. So good luck. And
Yeah.
it happens, but you just got to put a whole bunch of commit into that. Yep.
Yeah.
But it was a great game. Loved it. It came down to very end play where he outmaneuvered me on objectives and had more guys to put places, and I was running out of guys, and he had more kill power at the end, which is where I want to go. And I just want to say this: the last 3 games that I've played in Warhammer, I've lost by about 2 points. So the last 3 games, I'm going to start with the first one. It was the RTT, and I lost a corn, and it was about 2 points on the very last turn in the last roll of the game. And then I played Richard on his Lumineth, and it was in the very last turn of the game, and I couldn't kill a particular unit, and I lost. And then this game we played now, I lost by 1 point, and could not kill enough infantry guys to get the final 5 points of that objective. So, hey, I had a deep conversation with my father about this because I'm like, guys, dad, and I had like, hey, daddy, I can't win Warhammer right now. Kidding. I had a conversation with him. I was like, man, I've had these 4 games in a row because there was another one that was super close. And he gave me this advice. He's like, dude, what you're doing right now, forming community and doing what you're doing with your podcast and with these people that you play, like you guys are watching these games, you're commentating on them, you're having your people give you comments back on your games. You are becoming better players because of that. Because my dad, he used to have this Bretonian army that he would run through people, and him and Brian Priest, who was the former owner of T-shirt Explosion, which became Games Explosion, him and Brian Priest would play these Bretonian 3,000 point armies versus Brian's 2,000 point, or sorry, Bretonian would be 2,000 points, which my dad would run, and the other guy would run 3,000. And he would make him like do these scenarios where it's like, hey, can you beat this? Can you beat this? And that's how he became good with that army. So it's like I think that's one thing we need to challenge ourselves with. It's like, hey, you could be good with this list, with this meta list, but can you beat 250 more points? Can you beat 300, 400, 500 more points with your list? See how good you can get with it. And he gave me that advice, and I was like, that's actually a pretty cool statement. Yeah.
Cannoli. All right, folks. So we got to preface our, cities list here. When we have the new book coming out, how are they actually working? What are the good things about them? What are the bad things about them? So let's go over it. They have a battle trait, which is the army rule. If you're newer, that's great. Being able to say, hey, the army will always have this rule. There's nothing it can't be taken away. So it is called form up at the start of the battle round. Doesn't matter if you're going or your opponent's going, you get to use it. Then you need to make groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. You gotta get 3 units that can form up, and then they are formed up for the rest of that battle round. So it'll be on your turn and your opponent's turn that they are formed up. And when they are formed up, they get to do some special abilities. The one qualification is that you need to make sure that they're different units when you form up. So you kind of need to do a little mishmash soup of your units to form them up. And it cannot be 2, it cannot be 4, it has to be 3. So it's a really fun ability. I think this is a great way to activate your ability is that, okay, if I have 10, I can't form someone up. Or 5 or 7, right? There's all these different mixes that we'll have there. It's going to be a great way to be able to say, hey, these guys are supercharged. That's usually what I like to say is like, oh, they're supercharged when they have an ability. So we can then, when you're formed up, once per turn army, and all 4 of these abilities is once per turn army. So it's not everyone, just the one unit that's formed up, they get to do these abilities. The first one is take aim, which is going to be pick 1, add 1 to hit rolls. Great, that's the shooting. You get to hit an extra shot off with your guns because now you have +1 to hit. And then the next one is going to be in the charge phase, which is my new favorite ability. You get to sound the attack, which then says that you bring your lowest d6 to match your highest d6, which happened in our game. I rolled a 1 and a 6, which means that I got a 12-inch charge. We did do some research on this. This is our understanding of it. Might be FAQ later. This has to be declared before you make the charge, and if you re-roll the charge, it does not apply to the second one. And then the next one is going to be into them, you dogs. Whoever named these things, all right, that's good for you. This is a triple fight that everyone needs to be under orders, which is at the beginning. The hero has to fight, and then it picks 2 other units that are under orders. They are inspirited and emboldened. Good for you. The inspirited has to fight next, and then the emboldened fights third for the technicality there. But it's a triple fight, which who's going to complain about a triple fight? It's awesome. Followed up by the last one, hurl them back, which is going to be add a rend. We are just going to lightsaber our way through everything and everyone's other army. When you can do some math on the back end, you're like, this guy now has Rend 4. Rend 4 is some crazy talk. If you are just like, yeah, okay, Rend 4, and your opponent's going to look at you and say, what did you just call me? Because Rend 4 is crazy. So Randy, Josh, what are some of your favorite abilities off of the form up?
I'm obviously a huge fan of any time that you can guarantee a charge, right? Because again, going all the way back to I think episode 3 with Cox the Trash Man, you can have all the damage in the world, but if you cannot deliver the damage, it doesn't matter, right? Now, I do want to make a quick clarification because Hubble, in his excitement, may have spoken a little bit wrong here. You do not declare sound the attack before you make a charge. You have to roll your charge because notice it reads reaction. You declared a charge ability. Notice, dear friends, what else is a charge ability? Counter charge. An easy way for you to sink a counter charge, which is quite naughty by nature.
So you could do the counter charge before his dice roll ability.
So what you do is you declare any charge ability, right? Your charge, a counter charge, whatever else. If you have something that has a charge ability, you declare it, you roll it, then you say sound the attack, and it will flop.
Okay.
Now, the technical part about this is if you re-roll your charge, you cannot sound the attack twice. You need to make a decision. Maybe you need an 8-inch charge, and you roll, a 3 and, well, you need a 9-inch charge, and you roll a 3 and a 4, right? It's not going to be good enough, even if you sound the attack. Not good enough. So you're going to re-roll it, then you get a 5 and a 1. Okay, boom, sound the attack. You got a 10. Great. But you can't be like, sound the attack. Oh, JK, re-roll, sound the attack again. So I think that's great. I think it's a wonderful ability. Triple fight is naughty by nature, and it just makes me happy inside. It's a vibe. Hurl them back feels incredibly strong situationally, because again, you need to pick a friendly unit that is under orders and is in combat with an enemy unit that charged this turn. So it can't just be any time. You got to be receiving a charge. But maybe with the Gate Gargants, you get pretty nasty. A little bit of Rend 3 damage. Okay.
I like Into Them, you dogs. I mean, that's LRL right there. Get fight, fight, fight. That's amazing. Now there's a lot of conditions you gotta go through, but I mean, if you get it all off, um, fight, fight, fight. That's really good. Get it on the right units. You're deleting something.
Okay, so we got to be able to go through the battle traits there. Let's go ahead and talk about the battle formations. And just to say this, I believe we're going to go talk about battle formations and heroic traits here. They're real spicy. So the first one is to the last, you get 3 additional rally dice, Masters of Arcane, +1 to arcane manipulation rolls. Which to define arcane manipulation rolls, it's going to show up on the war scrolls. And basically, it's just the ability on the war scroll. The ability says, hey, on a 3-up, you give out crit mortals. Well, if you have this ability, then it'll be on a 2-up, you give out crit mortals instead because it's an arcane manipulation roll. Zealous Hordes, which is going to be +1 to wound if that thing already fought, which is going to be really good. And then Dawnbringer Crusade. Move infantry 6 inches, but in friendly territory on your turn. So there's a lot of conditions. Obviously, Cities is a big brain, lots of technical rules. Like I missed it because I'm just trying to spout out what's right here right now. On hurl them back, you have to be charged. That's there's these little rules, and we need to make sure that reading comprehension is not the biggest enemy, especially when you're playing a tech-heavy army like Cities. So, if you have to bring one, what are you guys bringing for the battle formations?
I feel like I'm bringing Stalwart Guardians. I feel like I'm bringing the extra rally roll. I think that there's enough units in Cities of Sigmar that have low health points that having 3 extra rallies, 3 possible, extra rally points is a big deal. So that's me. Plus, it's passive. There's not conditions.
Yeah, I was trying to look. I was looking at Zealous Horde. I was like, oh, that's really good. But then I saw the once per turn, and I was like, oh, that feels really bad. um, so it's just a once per turn. Add 1 to wound rolls after your opponent has declared a fight ability. So you're gonna have to get hit in the face first, and then you're declaring it. And Cities, you're humans. You got 4-up saves. I mean, actually, there's a unit I'd like to talk about later that has a 3-up save that I love. Uh, but usually you're going to be able to 4-up save. But yeah, Stalwart Guardians looks like the best one to me.
I'll put out there that the Collegiate Exemplars, the Masters of the Arcane, I am debating this one just so that way I can say, hey, on a 2-up, I have mortals instead of a 3-up. Something as important as getting mortals, even if it's just getting that off, there's other abilities in the game that are arcane manipulations, but just getting crit mortals to stick on cavalry is really good. It's going to hit really hard, and so I am debating that one. I did the swift reinforcements for our game. Um, I just don't know every single battle map that it's going to be effective. I only did a regular move as I was flipping through. I was just like, oh, it's just a move. And it is only for infantry. If I could do it on my cav, I think that swift reinforcements would be the preferred answer. But right now, I think that I'm going to go ahead and play around with Masters of the Arcane.
That +3 to rally is kind of generic, where I think a lot of armies have that. And like, how many points is that for your army to do? Is that that's just your trait, right?
The formation, all of these are free as of this moment.
That and it's fine for free, but other armies, I know the Stormcast have the Vexler, the Night Vexler that does that type of stuff, and then the Fire Slayers have that. It's usually a banner bearer, I think, that does that great, but you usually have to pay 90 to 100 points for it. So getting that 3 extra rally dice for me, I like it. And if you watched our game, you would understand why, because my heal rolls are horrible, and so getting 3 extra heal points for me is great, but I can see why that arcane +1 stuff is much better. I really do.
Next up, we got the heroic traits of the Cities of Sigmar, and I'll go ahead and read them to you. We got the Sentinels of Order, the Centaurian General. Subtract 1 from ward rolls for enemy units while they are in combat with any visible friendly units that are wholly within 12 inches of this unit and under orders. We got Grizzled Drill Master. The effect is other visible friendly units have ward 6 plus while they are wholly within 12 inches of this unit and under orders. And the last one we got is Beloved Leader. Ignore negative modifiers to hit rolls and wound rolls applied by enemy abilities for attacks made by visible friendly units that are wholly within 12 inches of this unit and under orders. That sounds like a good LRL counter right
Yeah.
there. So which ones are y'all liking?
Personally, beloved leader, ignore negative modifiers to hit rolls and wound rolls for all attacks. Notice how it doesn't say combat attacks, which means my guns don't care about your cover. And I can just shoot you and not have to worry about anything like that. And so that is going to be a huge boon towards the beloved leader. That's just my take. And also, if I charge you into a obscuring flat piece of terrain, then I don't have to worry about it if I'm in there. So that is the one that I personally all for. Let's make sure though that we're getting our orders off on the right groups of 3, as you just noticed, and we will see this on War Scrolls too. Under orders is constantly being put on there.
No, I was gonna say yeah. Every trait they must be under orders. So you're gonna have to keep that up and be cognizant of having under order units all out there where you need them.
Yeah, I think that beloved leader is pretty much the move. I think both, like, the other two are pretty good. They're not bad, but beloved leader is the move. And it suddenly hits me. There's a unit I want to talk about later because I'm trying to understand if I'm wrapping my head around it right. The Free Guild Marshal with Relic Envoy.
Okay. Well, when we get there, we'll
We'll get,
see
no, I
the
know.
wombo
Sorry,
combo. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
perusing and I went, what are we doing? Okay,
We're trying to crack cities right now. If you're listening to this, we are just trying to make sure that we can show that cities is way overtuned, and that we're gonna absolutely we're gonna get nerfed, and then we can't be played anymore. So we're gonna take our time in the sunshine. So yeah, Gentry, you got any opinion on that?
Okay, if they nerfed anything, yeah, beloved leader, absolutely. But what I really like is that called Stentorian General? Is that the name of the ability? That -1 ward roll can be super killer in a GTT/RTT, where these armies come in and be like, "Oh, I have my 5 and 6 ward stuff," and you're like, well, I'm going to reduce your 5 to a 6. I'm going to reduce your 6 to a 0. Like that -1 ward in that little area, if you build a castle army and just move it forward, that could be pretty devastating because cities can castle and they can do it well. And if you can do a big -1 ward roll on some of these lists that rely on their wards to have sustainability throughout 4 or 5 turns, dude, that's pretty brutal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's talk about these artifacts of power. And just like many things in this book currently, we got some good options. Okay. Up first, we got the Last Blade of Emberguard, which also shout out to maintaining consistent lore stuff. Emberguard has been a major part of some of the, I think, Underworlds and Warcry and other things like that. So we love to see it. Last Blade of Emberguard is going to give you +2 attacks and plus rend for a hero non-companion weapon profile. Okay, pretty spicy, very fun. You pair that with some really fun stuff with like the Cavalier, Marshal, all sorts of other things. And it is a note, +2 to the attacks and +2 rend. So suddenly we're cooking. We have so much rend. We are literally lightsabering through things, right? Big vibes. We love that. Second option, we got Bones of Saint Ignifus, which, as a man who loves relics, my joy just deep inside. +1 to casting or chanting rolls. Okay. Now, we have a little bit of a stipulation here. You declared a spell or prayer ability for a visible unit that is wholly within 12 inches of this unit and under orders. The dangerous under orders, okay? But just good for you to bear in mind, because having a +1 to your cast or a +1 to chant is huge most of the time. We love that. So that's a good option too. You just keep them in mind.
Now, quick clarification. Does it say this unit or a visible unit? So you can do +1 to cast enchanting for multiple units there.
It's spicy because it is also not a once per turn. You set somebody up with the bones of our boy Saint Ig, Saint Iggy, as I'll probably begin to call him, and you're just gonna be like, anyways, all the pluses, having a great time, right? We love this. Then we have the Sphere Celestial. This goes off in your hero phase, okay? You are going to pick a point on the battlefield more than 3 inches from all units, friendly and enemy, and terrain features to be the target point. Then you're going to pick another friendly Cities of Sigmar infantry or cav hero that is within 18, which is huge, and not in combat. Okay? You're going to remove the target, remove this unit from the battlefield, set it up within 1 inch of the target and not in combat. Then remove the target unit from the battlefield and set up within 1 inch of the target point and not in combat. They cannot. This unit and the target can use move abilities. Folks, not only. Okay.
That's gross.
Not only do we not have the standard teleport stipulation outside 9. I have the documents right here, folks. I didn't want to believe it, but I have them right here. Okay. You also ignore the rule, no move after teleport. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these are good. You have received entirely too many good artifacts of power. There are armies that have no good artifacts of power. Cities of Sigmar is out here just piles. Literal binders of artifacts of power. That's a reference to old Mitt Romney, folks. This is incredible. This is incredible.
So what I'm understanding is that they get to take a cheap hero and just throw one of these things on them and be like, "Hey, here we go." Is that pretty much what you do?
That's exactly it. You
Okay.
can take, okay, your options. Options are available to you. The only thing that you can't take this with, well, it wouldn't even matter. It's Talia, right? Whatever, fine. Or Pontifex Sinestra. What great. What you got 1.5 million other unnamed heroes who you can just slap one of these suckers on and cause someone to have the worst day ever. This is incredible. I'm blown away. Gobsmacked.
I'm absolutely bursting at the seams here because I've been deep into the city's new rules, and we have a great battle trait that I love. I think it's fun, and even just the bringing up the lowest D6 charge is great. Then I got some great battle formations to follow up with. I'm like, okay, army wide, we're gonna have some fun. All of them are good. That some might be better because they'll have the best one that'll pop out there, but all of them have a place. And then followed up by the great battle traits that I could throw on a hero that I'm like, if any of these are on them, I'm not complaining. And then followed up by the artifacts of power, and I'm like, all 3 of these are good, and thank you for writing 3 great abilities. I am so excited, y'all. I'm sorry for peeking your the microphone right now, but I am absolutely like when I finally got to dig in deeper and deeper and deeper. Now there's conditions all underneath these things. We got to make sure that we're being, following the rules. But if you can just have a -1 to ward bubble from last time, followed up, but now I got +1 to my chanting, +1 to my casting, you're gonna have a great castle unit out there, and you're just a menace to society. So I think that if I'm looking at the one that I have to pick, the +1 to casting and chanting roll, if I have more than 1 wizard. If not, I'm probably going to do 2 attacks and 2 rend, because who doesn't want something with a bare minimum of 3 rend going out there and being like, anyways, bonk. take some damage.
This is cooked. This is so cooked.
This is so good.
We're gonna have fun for about 3 months, y'all, and then it's gonna go away. Just as the clarifying point, Cog Forts cannot take the heroic trait or the artifacts of power if you were thinking that you could throw it on your Cog Forts, because Cog Forts are heroes. They're the hero in my heart. So so lastly, the Cog Forts get their own little special attachment, much like the ogres got the big boss names out there. So we have the prototype Arco Combustor Uninhibitor. Who is naming these stuff? I am not going to say this at the table when I'm at a GT. And anyways, that gives a 3-inch move characteristic once per battle. Okay, that's good. I can also use shoot abilities if I retreated, and no moral damage on the retreat. All right, good. Emergency Bellows, remove one of the heat tokens. Cog Forts have special abilities that take heat and do damage to them. So that takes that away. And then the Grapple Net Launcher is the subtract 1 from attacks characteristics of an enemy unit in combat. Their melee combat, which is like Karazai's ability. I personally, it's once per battle, but you can just say, hey, I have my castle, and now you don't get to do anything. You know, cutting out a whole attack, if it's something with 20 models in the unit, that's going to be really brutal to suddenly lose 20 attacks. So I think that the Grapple Net Launcher is kind of the clear winner for the Cog Fort if you have it.
So we've got this new book with a bunch of cool stuff. Now, what did we lose, Hubble, from Cities of Sigmar?
I mean, we are going to lose the steam tank. We're going to lose all of the elves and dwarves. There is an army of renown, which we're not going to cover today, which brings in Fire Slayers and Lumineth, which is fun. I think it's a good nod towards the back there. But we are going to lose a lot of humans still, like flagellants are in there that are being lost. I didn't own that stuff beforehand, and we all knew it was coming. So I didn't play Old World and go into cities from there. The thing that we do have, I think they've been doing a good job at putting nods towards those older units, like the two-headed unit Erasmus, the two-headed mount unit. That's a good nod towards the multiple Hydra-like characters in the past. So they've been doing a really good job navigating that line of saying, hey, we're part of this, from a narrative standpoint. We are a mixture of various societies together. But we also have a bunch of old models out there that aren't necessarily what we made for Age of Sigmar. And I don't feel like a lot of people are too upset with the losses here, unless if you played Old World back in, the early 2000s, you're just suddenly having stuff that you can't play with. I did lose some stuff, like I had the Hurricanum. Can't play with that anymore. There was a little part of me that was hoping the Hurricanum would stay. I think it's a fun model. Or the Lumineth Arc Light or something like that. It's just a fun model to have. And so, you're losing a few. You're losing the Griffon guys on there and the Battle Mages and stuff like that. But they've made those the Battle Mage replacements. So overall, it is what it is.
The Cav, what was it? Were they on like hippogriffs or something? The old Cav models.
I think I know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah, those were pretty cool. And also, the other two I'm gonna miss are, of course, the Steam Tank. Steam Tank is kind of iconic for Empire back in Old World. And the was it Carl Franz on the Griffin? I think they named him like Free Guild General on Griffin or something. Those are the two that they always struck my eye when I would go in the store when I was younger. So, but I'm gonna miss those ones.
The steam tank really kind of befuddles me. The popularity of the unit, like what it can do and how you can run your army around it. I just don't know why you would take that away. I maybe just to like, hey, we're gonna sit on it for like another 10 years or something. I don't know. But like taking away a steam tank is kind of weird, but
Hey,
whatever.
Gentry, I know you want to know why they took it away?
Why is that?
Because they have to sell cog forts now.
Okay. You realize this now in the error of my ways. Yeah.
I did tell Josh I actually did have an expectation of steam tanks sticking around because it's the small version of a cog fort, right? And if we're looking at it, it's your war machine that's mobile. You have your stationary cannon basically, and you're gonna have the cog fort. It's the medium size of a war machine. I did have an expectation that was gonna stick around. I won't be too surprised in 3 years when they release essentially a new version of the steam tank. Um, if it's out there to some extent, it just is, it makes sense from a lore aspect of it. But that's what we lost. You know, they have rules. If you want to play, they'll be effective. Go ahead, play with them. I believe even there's some rules that might be super beneficial for you out there. That if you're like, hey, I want to play with my elves, I think there's some gameplay that you can form up and make some really strong plays. But they'll be going away in the long run.
Randy, your argument about hey, steam tanks are replaced by cog forts, absolutely spot on. Wonderful. And I look at a cog fort and I look at AOS today. I'm kind of like, dude, a cog fort's way prettier and sexier. It really is. So I mean, a steam tank is just like exactly what it says it is. It's a big tank that runs on steam. A cog fort, people are like, what is this? And you start seeing pictures of it, and the memes that are going out now, where you put Krondus on top of the cog fort and everything, you know. So it's like it's becoming this new culture of the game itself in AOS. So yeah, I get it. I get it.
All right, everyone. We have a bunch of new War Scrolls. We're going to try to blitz through this as fast as possible in order not to have a 5-hour podcast because there is so much good content here. To start off, like we got the Fusiliers, Grenadiers, Ironweld. Great, they're guns. They're going to shoot. That is what they're going to be doing. Van Dent's squad, they're anti-wizards. One thing that I want to call out, Callus and Toll, ROR, the Regiment of Renown, gonzo. Absolutely done. So that's not great for everyone that bought one. I was shocked when I saw that part. That's the kind of super easy ones, not anything further to talk about. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Fusel Major Warhulk, the +1 to hit on there. That's still the same. I think that mix him with Beloved Leader, you're going to have a game-breaking system where you ignore cover and you get the +1 to hit. That's a good mix there. Wilder Core Hunters get to Deep Strike and bring 2 units with them. I think a great play there is you're going to take Fusiliers with the Wild Core Hunters, pop in on the side, and just shoot something down. Because Wild Core Hunters, you know, they're just going to have that deep strike from the edge, and they're going to have that range with their guns on them. And you can suddenly have a big pressure on one side of the board wherever you want. Warforger, he's the guy that does the crit mortals with an arcane manipulation roll. Normally it's a 3-up if you don't have the +1 on there. So Warforger is also a wizard. So wizard 1 with another arcane manipulation ability for crit mortals. Warforger is the one that I'm going to say auto include for every list. It's the only true unit in here that I feel like is not include.
I agree.
Steel,
Crit Mortals is solid. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, absolutely. And interrupt me. We're blitzing here.
Yeah.
Steel Helms, 4-up. You have to hit my trashy 90-point unit. If it's a monster, it's a 5-up. That is an absolute gamble. I know, 50-50 shot here. But if you can force someone to hit the still helms, and then suddenly it's like, hey, anyways, my Cavaliers are going to punch you, and you just kill this worthless piece of crap. Great. I think that's the steel helms are a phenomenal unit. Gallant,
Well, can I
there
jump
is
in
a
here really fast?
yeah, absolutely.
So, cool fact about the steel helms: if this unit is under orders, it just happens. There's no dice roll.
And that
It-
is stonks. Absolute stonks. I love my army right now. I'm so excited.
All right,
Oh,
Randy, what can you tell us about the Gallants?
All right, so these guys, the reason why I want to talk about them is they remind me of the old Blight Kings from Maggotkin. I just love how they're structured. 2 health each. Well, one less health, but they're human, so we'll give them that. 3 up save. They're hitting attacks, 2 attacks each, threes and fours, 1 rend, 1 damage. But here's the kicker: they have a passive. If this unit is not used a charged ability this turn, add 1 to the attacks characteristic and damage characteristic of this unit's melee weapons. So you're getting up to 3 attacks each, 2 damage each. And they also got anti-charge rend too. Yeah. Yeah, so these they come in groups of 5, so 10, so that's why it reminded me of old Blight Kings, because that's what they used to do. But man, this unit is awesome. I've been looking at them as like, do I start Free Guild Army for my third army or just for these units?
and Randy, we'll get to the Cogfort section, but there is a tech play where you can charge the Conqueror Cogfort in, drop your gallants off, and they count as charge, but they didn't use the charge ability, which gives the gallants their +1 to attack and damage roll on the charge of your turn. There is some serious tech here. We're not broken. You're broken. All right. Sorry,
All right.
everyone.
Hubble, I'm seeing the Free Guild Command Corps. They have 3 separate units now with lots of tech. The surgeon brings back D3 models and when he's even in combat.
Yeah. I think the Free Guild Command Corps is broken out to 3 different models. So the Whisper Blade, which you killed right away, is just it's objective grabber. It's 1 model. Go ahead, grab something, and then he also has crit mortals if he is in combat, and you can't hit him if he's next to a buddy. But to me, it's just a dude that I can throw out there. He's not going to be doing damage, but what do we need to do in this game? Josh, what do we need to do in this game?
Stand on circles.
Stand on circles. And this guy is going to go stand on a circle. He is free objective grabber. Then you have I'm so sorry to everyone, adjutant. I cannot figure out how to say this one. They're just adjutants. I hope I said that right.
Adjutantes.
They give out control score. That's okay. But to me, they're my ability to get form ups off. If I need to get 3 and I only got 2, they're going to be my form up third pick just to get that off. And then the last one is the auxiliary units. One can stop opponents from bringing stuff back, but more importantly, you got a surgeon there, and he's healing your guys, even if they're in combat. Now it's a 3 up, right? We have this general rule: 3 up. 66% of the time, we're going to be able to do this. And then I can say, hey, I'm going to bring back D3 gallants, which are 2 health apiece. So if I roll a 3, I get to bring back 6 health on a 3 up save. That is solid. And I got to shout out to our trash man Cox here, because that is exactly what I was like. This is such a good unit. I heard some other people talk about how it's not good. For 200 points, it's 3 units. It has abilities to play, and it's not hero, so it's not going to do master of the paths or anything. But it's 3 guys that can take objectives. That alone is going to be worth, I think, 200 points with tech play all mixed in there. So there's a lot of opportunity with it.
All right.
Uh,
Somebody talks to me about Jorvin Creel and Malice Forge Priests.
So Jordan Creel, heir of the Kraken. Shout out to Anvil Guard. We've not forgotten that it exists. We will never forgive the Daughters of Cain for taking it from us. Is Warhammer's response to Drizzt from D&D. He's a homie who has a panther. He's got a kitty cat, which automatically makes him my favorite hero ever. He's got some cool tech. He does a lot of kind of like strike and fade kind of thing. He can put his panther next to an enemy unit uh, anywhere on the battlefield, which is great. This is crazy. You roll a d3 on a 2-up, inflict that much mortal wound. It's the bad d3, right? However, while your panther is next to the enemy unit, they cannot score critical hits. So no crit mortals, no crit auto wounds, none of this fancy schman. Get it out. Send it straight to the garbage, okay? Now, in addition, he's got an ability called Fluid Combat Style. It's a reaction. You declare a fight ability for this unit or a non-hero Sigmarite infantry unit wholly within 12 inches, okay? Immediately after the fight has been resolved, you pick a point in the battlefield within 6 inches of the unit and more than 3 inches from all other units. You're getting a lot of from all units, friendly and enemy, and terrain features. And you're going to pull the unit that fought straight out of combat. You get to clap a dude in the face and then be like, anyways, I'm out. Have a nice day. Be warm and well fed. You're going to slap this man. Great stuff. The Malleus, what is it, Forge Priest, is the priest. It's their answer to we missed the warrior priest to Sigmar. So we brought him back. He got a haircut. He's looking a little bit weird. We don't love as much now. And he's okay. I'm not as jazzed on him, TBH. He has an ability once per turn, your movement phase, consecrate the lands, pick an objective you control that this unit is contesting. Okay, so we're already getting some stippies. You need an objective, you have to control it, you have to be contesting with this unit. If there are no enemy units, a third stippy, contesting this target objective, it is considered by you to be consecrated. Otherwise, roll a dice. Here on a 3-up, the target is considered to be consecrated. Okay. While they're wholly within 6 inches, there's the WW, wholly within 6 inches of a consecrated objective, and under orders. We've got so many stippies here. Friendly non-War Machine Sigmarite units have a 5-up ward. Friendly Sigmarite War Machine units have a 6-up ward. And if your opponent gains control of the consecrated objective, it is no longer.
The only saving grace to Malice is I don't plan on running a lot of Malice now that I finally got to read that all the way through and saw all of those stipulations, is that it's not until the end of the turn or start next turn you can consecrate more than one objective. That is the only saving grace that I see there. But it just forces you to, if you're fighting in the center, great, 5-up ward is awesome. But if you're running a wider map with multiple objectives, it's going to be pretty difficult. So that's my opinion on Malice.
This brings us to perhaps the strangest man in the book, Erasmus.
I'm looking at Erasmus Zahn, and you guys are calling him strange, but I'm thinking this is one of the techiest pieces in the game. Dude, this guy is crazy weird, but you can do some super cool stuff with him. So he's this dude on it's not a griffin. What is this creature that Erasmus is on? Some winged beast with 4 legs with horns. It's not a griffin. It just looks like a goat, a flying goat. I guess that's what this is. I don't know. But like, okay. So the effect of what Erasmus Zahn does in your hero phase, you can, if this dude's in a corner of a battlefield within 9 inches, you can pick somebody within 6 inches of you to be invisible to an enemy. You can hide somebody. Okay. Or you can add a power level. You can add 2 to an arcane manipulation, or you can add 3 to the attack characteristics of this unit's Rod of Radiance and set its damage to 3. So if he's in a corner he can mess somebody up. So like it's like if he gets over off in a corner, he protects a corner or attacks a corner. To me, that's what I'm looking Erasmus Zahn as. And then he has this manifestation ability where it's like if you see a manifestation within 12, you can make an arcane manipulation of 2d6. If it equals or exceeds the banishment value, then you set up an endless spell that can be summoned using a summon spell that this unit can cast with 1 inch. So like, hey, I'm gonna set up a summon based on this benefit. Like I'm summoning a manifestation based on a manifestation. Is that what that is?
You are reading this correctly. Now, we're going to have to, if you're at a tournament, please have your TO get this figured out before you go. Notice how this does not say command point or anything. It's any hero phase. Pick a visible enemy manifestation within 12. You essentially do a flip-flop, and you get to take away their manifestation and put your manifestation down. Now, what about Bronzespine? And there's a Bronzespine out there, and it's not a banish roll, but if you beat his banish roll, you can take out their Bronzespine and put your manifestation down, is how I am reading this.
Yeah.
However, I think that this one's going to get an FAQ because this is spicy ability. Or you can have, let's just say my pendulum's out there. You take off my pendulum and you put down your Crownspine. How about that? That's another way to handle it. You now get a free Crownspine.
It's crazy how they're like, hey, play this dude in a corner. And how many maps out there, how many battle scenarios are like corner based where it's like, hey, there's these 2 corners that this dude can control. Or he's just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go set up on this half of the battlefield on the right or the left and control these corners of the battlefield.
He is the weirdest war scroll that I think that they have produced. There's play, but you're going to have to be using all of your brain power when you play him.
All right, let's take a look at Gate Gargants. We got, they come in packs of 2, 10 health each. That's 20 health total on a 3-up save. And get this, a 6-up ward. These guys pack some punch. They got 5 attacks each, 4s and 2s. Ren 2, 3 damage each on their war mauls. And don't forget the little guys up top as well with range 10 inch. 5 attacks, 4s and 3s, Ren 1, D3 damage each. So they're okay in shooting. They're great in melee. They got, let's see, aggressive defenders is one of their abilities. Pick up to 3 other visible friendly Sigmarite, which is most of your army here, in combat with any enemy units that are in combat with this unit to be the target. Each target can use a shoot and or charge abilities, even if they use the retreat ability in the same turn. In addition, no mortal damage is inflicted on the targets by retreat abilities for the rest of the turn, so they get that Skaven rule where they can just retreat and just, I'm leaving. You can't do anything about it. Now, retreat and charge, it's very situational. It's okay ability, but I think with the horse, what are they called? Cavaliers. It might do some good right there. And they got another ability called Open the Gates. Pick a visible, friendly, non-War Machine Cities of Sigmar unit, wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. Add 2 to the charge rolls for the target for the rest of the turn. So, man, these guys are good. I don't know where points are on them, but I mean, go get yourself some Gate Gargants. You got 20 health, 3-up save, 6-up ward. And maybe you get a guy with one of the traits we read with a +1 ward. Now they're 3-up, 5-up.
I believe it's a 6-up ward.
Oh, 6-up.
Not a +1 ward.
Oh, okay,
but
+1.
Yeah. Now, they're just 10 points or 20 points more than a reinforced set of Cavaliers.
Well,
10 health less, but more tech, especially if you got them right next to Still Helms. I think that they're going to be something that can really mess you up.
Yeah.
So
you are correct. It is a 6-up ward, not +1. So there go my dreams.
All right. One of my sleeper hit units in this battle tome is the Friedel Marshal with Relic Envoy, who really went from a nothing burger of a unit to, I think, a pretty cracked one. Okay, so let me hit you with this. So of course you got the dude and his little guy with a head in a box, which I think is great. Okay. The Relic Envoy is a token. You're gonna pick a friendly Sigmarite unit wholly within 18 inches and not under orders to be the target. This is once per turn, your hero phase. Place the unit's Relic Envoy next to the target while this unit is under orders and on the battlefield, and this unit's Relic Envoy is next to the target. The target is under orders. So this is helping you to break the you need to be in threes situation. You can cast it out, give it to another homie, right? Fantastic. This is big. Now, however, let's talk about his other ability, Frontline Commander. Once per battle, so this is a single time, you declare a fight ability for this unit, pay 1 command point, okay? If this unit is under orders, pick a friendly infantry or monster unit. Friends, this includes Talia. This includes the Gate Gargants. That is wholly within 12 inches of this unit, or that has the Relic Envoy next to it and has not used a fight ability, okay? The target can be used to use a fight ability immediately after a fight ability used by this unit has been resolved. You've got a chain fight. Boom, boom. But we're breaking the rule because it doesn't need to be within combat range for this, okay? Now, not only do you get a chain fight, darling listeners at home, you also get, if it is picked to do so, the target can use 2 fight abilities this phase. After the first is used, however, the target has strike last. That's okay. That's fine. We're fine with it. You're trying to sit here and tell me that you could juice Talia up, give her the crit mortals, give her an extra attack, give her all these other juicy things, and then have her slap somebody again? Relic Envoy. Best glow up. Just incredible. Good stuff. All right. Let's move on to cog forts. We've got 4 options for you.
Let's start with the Conqueror Cog Fort. There's 2 ranged attacks, 18 inches and 12 inches. The 18 is 66, 2s, 4s, 1, and 1. The cruise lead shots, 12 inches, 6 attacks, 4s, 3s, 1d3. And the melee is 4 damage in melee, man. If you get in attack damage of a Cog Fort, you're in trouble. 4s, 2s, 2 rend, 4 damage, but still that can deal a lot of damage. It does always have its passive ability for battle damage, and that's fine. We'll pass over that. Let's look at the deployment phase. You can pick up to 1 friendly Sigmarite infantry hero and up to 1 friendly non-hero Sigmarite infantry and unit that's ultimately deployed. You can put those units into the cog fort. Right? They are passengers on the cog fort now. That's one thing you can do with it. Now, its passive ability, this is every cog fort, I believe, is an overheating ability. So after resolving this unit's full charge ability, and we'll get into that in a second, you must roll a number of dice equal to the number of heat tokens this unit has. So for each 5+, you're going to put 1 damage point to this unit, and you cannot use ward rolls for that, right? So like, hey, if you roll 5+ on your heat token rolls, that cog fort takes that damage. Let's get into what full charge is. So once per turn, army, any hero phase, let's really address that. So if you run a multiple cog fort list, you can only do this for 1 cog fort a turn, correct?
Slight correction. This is the Conqueror cog fort.
Conqueror
And
cog.
its ability is called Full Charge.
Okay.
There is the Cannonade cog fort, which
Uh,
is called Full Power, which
oh,
are different abilities by one word.
scroll
So
down, scroll down.
Conqueror and Cannonade
Oh.
are the ones you bring in
Okay,
your
well, that
normal.
makes sense. So if you wanted to take multiple conquerors, then that would okay. Gotcha. Okay, so if you take full charge, right, you're going to pick one of these following effects. For each effect you pick, and you can pick all of them, you give this unit a number of heat tokens equal to the number beside it. Question: before I read these off, can you take one of those abilities more than once?
No.
Okay, so I can't do breaching assist more than once.
No, because I would agree. gonna have Josh speak on that, but I believe that that is a core rule that the ability cannot be utilized more than once onto different units.
Yeah.
But
So
I can pick all 6 of these abilities essentially, and I would
Oh
have
yes.
to make all those heat charge rolls.
yes.
Yes, you can, which is gonna be a total of 16. I would be shocked if you're doing that. But the first one is the most important one there
Okay,
with
so
breaching
number 1,
assist.
if this unit uses the Sally Forth, and we'll go over Sally, well, I'll say Sally Forth now. If this unit has not used a run ability this turn, pick this unit's passengers to be the targets. Effect: set up each target wholly within 6 inches of this unit, and either not in combat or within
Half inch. Yeah.
half inch
Which
of the
is in
unit.
combat.
Yeah, if a target is set up in combat, it is charged. Then, if this unit is under orders, this unit and the targets are under orders for the rest of the battle round. That is awesome. That's really, really good. That's
That's how you get gallants into combat without having charged, but in combat
put them in
as
the cog
if
fort.
they
Yeah.
charged. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the Glombo combo.
important distinction, and I'm sure that this will get FAQ to the BTOs who want to talk about this. The Gallant rule says it has not used a charge ability.
Yeah.
So in the Sally Force, the this is not a charge ability. It's not a charge ability. It is just stating it is charged.
Yeah.
And someone out there is gonna be like, but what about? And then that's when you gently hand them a cookie and you say, you're gonna take all this damage and like it.
Sorry, it's the Concord. Number 2, full throttle. For the rest of the turn, this unit's move characteristic is 10. What is the original move characteristic of a Cogfort?
6.
Repel borders. For the rest of the turn, add 2. The attacks characteristics of this unit's crews, lead shotters. Another one is 4 is disengage safeties. For the rest of the turn, the attack characteristics of this unit's realm scorcher, excuse me, realm scorcher flame cannon. What a weapon. I'm sorry, the realm scorcher flame cannon is 22. Now, the original attack value of the realm scorcher flame cannon is 66. An average on 66 is like 18 to 22 basically. So you are just getting the average roll, which is an automatic roll. And if you need 22 attack dice with 2s and 4s for 1 damage, you got it. And the final thing it does is get us out of here. For the rest of the turn, this unit can use shoot abilities, even if it has used a retreat in the same turn. So, like, you can do a whole bunch of things with this Conqueror Cog Fort, but it's going to cost you those heat tokens. I want to do thoughts on this, but I want to keep it short. So, what's our initial thought on the Conqueror Cog Fort?
Strong, very strong. I think that there's going to be some people who really utilize this, particularly for gallant delivery. That'll be really powerful for them. I don't think that this is the damage cog for it, but I do think that this is a really interesting one. It doesn't tell us what happens if you destroy the cog fort when there are units inside. That feels like that's getting an FAQ.
That is very important. If I'm going to take a guess, it's just like the Silver Tower for Slaves to Darkness, where they're gonzo, they're done. Hey, bye-bye. Who cares?
That might prioritize than
But
smoking a Conqueror cog fort.
the good part about that is in the shooting phase, it would be really bad. It's any charge phase that you can drop your passengers off. So that's the offset to it. So if you can kill a cog 4 in the shooting phase, you might take out 1,000 points before they get to do anything with it. Which is that's what we like to do. We like to make sure our opponents get crushed. I think you can take the double conqueror and you're gonna put everything into these and then put them up the board, and it's not once per battle army, it's just once per battle, and you can drop off multiple sets all in one go.
And if you're wondering about the cannonade Cog Fort, it pretty much is a cog for it. It is just a better shooter. The Godbreaker cannon deals 4 damage. There's a breacher cannon that does 2 damage, and it still has the cruise lead shotters that deal D3. So basically, it does the same thing, but it just does more shot damage.
We got our ROR cog forts, the Outlaw Cannonade and the Outlaw Conqueror. Now, these look like they're stripped down a little bit on abilities. Again, Cannonade's going to be your shooty one. Goes pew pew, your Conqueror. You're not going to get that kind of Sally Forth ability here. You're just going to get, this is your stop maggots, which is kind of the same line of thinking, but it's a little bit different. It's set up each target wholly within 6 inches of this unit and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. In addition, the target's melee weapons have charged +1 damage for the rest of the turn. So you got to get that outside of 9 rather than getting close with that.
I think if we're talking about regiments of renown, Conqueror, you need to somehow sink a 9-inch charge pretty consistently. That's the only time I'm going to think about taking the Conqueror, Outlaw Conqueror Cogfort. The Cannonade one is the shooty one. Great. That's a solid piece to put in the back, but its ability. So we have those full power abilities, heat tokens. We don't have the heat tokens here. There is one thing that the Outlaw Cannonade, which I think is the better choice of the ROR, is you can reroll runs charges, add 1 to charge rolls. A target cannot be targeted by shooting attacks, but this is where I think is the best one. Add 1 to wound rolls for your target's combat attacks. That is just a way to unlock a +1 to wound on every army. So if I'm looking at where I'm going to be bringing, if I'm normally wounding on 3s, if I get this Cannonade Cogfort out there, then I could be wounding on 2s. And suddenly I'm unlocking a lot of damage. And I'm also just shooting you from 24 inches across the board. That's pretty good. And it's a hard thing to lift. So that's where I find the benefit in the regiment.
To wrap up today's episode, it's been a very, very long one. Cities is a lot to wrap up here. I want to give some shout outs to some special people in our community in Northwest Arkansas and our Ozarks area. We have a lot of game shops that we want to constantly give mention to. We want to name drop Games Explosion. They are constantly hosting events for us. And Chris and Dion are great up there. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people that we haven't said too much before. That is Chaos Games. That's a gaming company or a board game place that you can go play games and buy cards and Warhammer stuff from. That's been in the Northwest Arkansas area for quite a while. I want to shout out Gear Gaming. They're always great with the board gaming and Warhammer community, and anybody that is just involved with hosting board gaming and Warhammer gaming places in our community. So I want to give a shout out to our people out there that host events, man. That's awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it. And now, Shillings with Hubble.
Thank you so much for joining us talking about Cities of Sigmar here. I am ecstatic, just excited to see what we can do here. There is so much tech play. It's going to have to make me use my brain. I'm going to put some wrinkles in there compared to the time that I've been doing all that with ogres. You know, I just got to hit you in the face. But now this is a very fun army. Go ahead, leave a comment about what is your favorite unit in the cities list. We want to hear from you. We want to talk with y'all on our platforms. We have Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram. We're on Reddit as well. Follow us on Facebook. Please, we want to hear what we can do better. Thank you so much for listening to us. And we are going to catch y'all rolling the Ozarks next time. Bye, y'all.